It's often quoted that the bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. I found this to be especially true after buying a leather journal as a gift for a friend back in 2011. The journal was clearly mass-produced on a production line somewhere, and for some reason this really bothered me. I was reminded of a gentleman by the name of Richard Prenneke, who left his life in mainstream America behind in 1968 to build a homestead in the bush country of Alaska. Through the process, he came to find a unique pleasure in seeing what he could make rather than buy already made. It was this same curiosity that I'd had myself. Having paid top dollar for a journal that didn't look like it would even last a single adventure abroad, I was determined to make something better, something that would last, and so I did. I made my first journal from scratch. I asked around and I found the few materials I needed to make a journal of my own. And because I'm a perfectionist in some regards, I had to make my own work better. The process of constantly striving for perfection in something man-made is never ending. There's always going to be some slight margin of man-made error when doing things manually. I understand now the truth in Dali's words when he said, "To have no fear in perfection because you'll never reach it." I work hard to perfect every item I make, but each piece of work turns out just a bit different from the last, and it's not always necessarily more perfect. I've come to realize the weight and meaning of the fact that imperfection is the greatness of man. This process has shown me that the unique qualities of each piece I create make them all different from anything else out there. The time and energy I spend trying to perfect each item ultimately produces a higher quality piece. And higher quality doesn't always mean that something is more perfected, it just means that more care is taken in the making process. When my friends and family started taking an interest in what I was doing and even started buying my work, I realized quickly that my developing skill had potential to become a lucrative endeavor, but I wanted to be careful with the potential. I didn't want this thing that I enjoyed so much to become a burden, so I decided to grow it slowly and organically. I also realized that I needed to figure out what my exact goal was for the endeavor, and so I began talking with my wife about it, and that's when we decided together that any profit made would be put towards an adoption that we hope to make someday. Having this goal has driven me to keep going with this little adventure. I'm happy to be able to say that my hobby of leatherworking has really expanded into more than just a hobby, but has remained completely enjoyable along the way. I don't own a factory, I don't work out of a shop. Instead, I work out of a back room in my home with some simple hand tools, creating small batches of personal items that hopefully will be enjoyed for generations. I appreciate the fact that my operation is small and manageable, but I also realize the need to give myself a little room to expand. So my next hope is to take a stab at crowdfunding a small detached workshop in my backyard. It's this kind of endeavor that I believe will keep this great nation alive and striving. It's this kind of hands-on workmanship that helps us remember our fathers and grandfathers who probably never thought twice about working with their hands. And it's this kind of hard work that has driven along an overwhelming movement that favors quality over quantity. I'll keep aiming to perfect each item that I make so that there's no chance for bitterness of poor quality. I'm Ryan Castor, the hands behind the makings of Rust Belt Mercantile.